Hi there, this is Andrea Mowry of Renee Knits, and today I am going to be demonstrating how to do a 2-stitch increase in brioche, and that is called a bark yarn over bark. And you do always want to increase in brioche and decrease in multiples of 2 because it's a 2-stitch repeat. So I am going to demonstrate this first English style, also known as throwing, holding my working yarn in my right hand. And then I'm going to demonstrate again Continental style, also known as picking, holding my working yarn in my left hand. So I will demonstrate both styles. And the good news is, as far as brioche goes, increasing is pretty simple. So get my yarn here. Remember which style I said I was going to start with. So we are going to just get to the point where we want to increase. So let me just get over here quick. So generally speaking, you want to increase within like a column where I call my honeys. So I've got my 2 strands of yarn here. So I would typically bark this or brioche knit it. So this is what I want to increase into, not my little single guy that will have become a slip-on yarn over. You can also do this increase on the brioche purl side, and it's just called a burp yarn over burp, but the actions are pretty much the same. All right, let's get to it. So I am going to insert my needle into both strands, and I'm going to bark just like I typically would. Let me just pull the slack out of that. Now, if you were just brioche knitting, you would stop here, this would come off your needle, you'd be on your merry way. But to increase, we are going to do our bark, but instead of dropping it off of this needle, we're going to leave it on, and we're going to bring our working yarn between our needle tips so we can bring it in front, and that is the yarn over portion of the bark yarn over bark. And now we're going to bark, brioche knit right back in to that same stitch. And now we're done. We can pull it off. And where once we had the 1 stitch, we now have added 2 more for a total of 3. So I'm going to show that again, and this way you'll also get to see how to undo a bark yarn over bark, which is even easier. You're going to see that it stretches out the stitch a bit, which we use as a beautiful design detail. It tends to make these really round little eyelets that can be really beautiful in brioche. But you just go ahead and stick your left needle tip into that big hole. And now drop the loops off of your right hand needle, and that's it. That's how you unravel it. So again, for the bark yarn over bark, we insert our needle and brioche knit. We bring it out, but we don't drop anything off of our left hand needle yet. We bring our working yarn between our needle tips in front of our right hand needle, and then bark back in again. And that's it. That is a bark yarn over bark. Now let's try that Continental style. So as I said, we don't want to do it on this single stitch, so we are going to do a slip 1 yarn over, and now we'll increase into our double-stranded stitch. And so we will bark, bring our yarn forward in between our needle tips so it's in front of our right hand needle, and bark into that same stitch again. And that's it. Again, to unravel this, we would insert our needle tip into that eyelet, and then go ahead and remove the strands of yarn from our right needle. And there we go, it's all undone. Let's see that one more time, Continental style. So we brioche knit, don't drop anything off your needle yet. Bring your yarn forward in front of your right hand needle, and brioche knit into the same stitch again. And there you go. If you've ever done a knit front back or a knit yarn over knit, really similar movements here as the bark yarn over bark. So I hope that you give some increasing in your next brioche project a try, and happy knitting.